And we're live! Hello all and welcome. And I'm the Realist Philosopher. And this is the Realist Philosopher Crazy Shit number 1. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. So this is going to be a little different than my normal call-in show format. I'm not going to open up Skype. There's not going to be any callers for this show. I'm going to be live streaming it. And simply talking about crazy shit happening in the world today. Now, during my call-in show, I like to talk about stuff that's a little more mainstream, a little more normal as normal goes these days. There's still a lot of crazy shit that goes on that I talk about, but not what I would consider batshit crazy, okay? And I don't like to mix the more serious content up with the batshit crazy stuff. I like to try and keep that separate. So the idea just came to me, gee, I got a lot of stories here that are batshit crazy that I wouldn't normally mix with my social political commentary that's a little more mainstream, a little more serious. But yeah, what if I just do one show a week devoted to all the batshit crazy, nutty stuff that, I set aside? It's like, okay, it's a pretty good idea. So this stuff is a lot more lighter in regards to how I'll present it. But this is some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff going on in the world right now. So I'm going to do a show a week devoted to that, and do a show a week devoted to stupid shit people say. I wanted to do a show, instead of this crazy shit, I wanted to do a show where I talked about smart stuff people said. Essentially clever comments, clever observations, or good questions. But believe it or not, I couldn't find enough to populate an entire show with content. In an hour, I couldn't do it. I'm searching Twitter, I'm searching Facebook. I'm looking for clever stuff, smart comments, good questions. I'm looking for like 2 hours. I maybe found like 2 or 3. Well, that'll give me about 10 minutes. What do I do after that? So yeah, yet another perfect example of how dumbed down people are becoming. It's very easy for me to find content for my stupid shit people say shows, but I couldn't find enough to do a show about smart stuff people were saying. So, the next best thing was crazy shit. All right, so no call-ins on this show. That'll be tomorrow. I'll start again. Now, by the way, for those of you who follow me, I missed last week's show Friday. I want to apologize for that. I still have a very bad ear infection, and it got so bad I couldn't sleep, and I eventually went out and got some medication, treated it. It's getting better, much better now. The pain is gone, the swelling's going down, so that's why I can make this show. But it was really, really bad over the weekend. So, yeah, and on Friday it was just, whew, so I couldn't do it, unfortunately. It's real life, Medical emergencies take priority, so. All right, anyway, so let's get to the first of many crazy stories that I want to comment on. I mean, this is some really bizarro shit, okay? Listen to this. So first of all, apparently in China, you're allowed to do some wackadoo stuff that you're not allowed to do in the States. Granted, they do have controls in China. They have certain stuff that's taboo, off limits, but they're a lot more relaxed on what they'll allow you to do scientifically. Beside the fact that they, take the organs of people that they arrest and toss into deep holes, never to be seen again. That's one example of some stuff that's way outside the bounds. This is also way outside the bounds. So Chinese scientists insert human brain gene into monkeys. Yeah, this is going to go real well. This is going to go real well. Have these people seen Planet of the fucking Apes? Has anybody seen these fucking movies? Does anybody take this stuff seriously? I mean, honestly, if you look at all the science fiction out there, how often those science fiction writers have been proven right in their predictions about the future? Does anybody listen? Does anybody say, this kind of mirrors what was in that sci-fi story, and, the warnings given in that story seem to mirror reality, and they kind of seem like bad things that could happen in the real world, too. Maybe we should practice caution. Maybe we shouldn't develop AI so quickly. Maybe we shouldn't be so gung-ho to develop artificial intelligence in machines that could, advance, evolve intellectually at a geometric rate. That it just in a few years could advance what it took humans millions of years? Yeah, maybe we should practice caution. Nah, no caution. Hubris all the way. So scientists in China may have created a new kind of monkey. And with it, a big ethical dilemma. I think it's more than an ethical dilemma. You breed enough of these monkeys, super monkeys, that are as smart as people, but like 5 times stronger. Oh, bad idea. Researchers inserted a human brain gene into monkeys in an experiment with the potential to cross the wires of human and animal intelligence. And by the way, monkeys are already pretty smart. I think that fucking Coco that could sign language like 1,000 words or something had like an 85 IQ or something. That's crazy. She could use an iPod and shit, and you'd see her swiping and playing videos and shit. It's not a good idea to take an animal like that is so fucking strong and up its intelligence artificially. Yeah, let's just introduce a few million years of human evolution into this non-human but very intelligent on its own species. No, nothing bad could happen. A study published last month in Beijing's National Science Review journal describes the experiment, which is billed as the first attempt to experimentally introduce the genetic basis of human brain origin using a transgenic monkey model. This already sounds really scary. And it values the use of non-human primates in understanding human unique traits. Already, I don't get it. Why don't you just study humans if you want to understand human unique traits, huh? Why don't you just do that? The researchers, it's like these people want to do shit just because they can. We could do this, so let's try it. Let's not. Let's not make pigmen, okay? Let's not do that. Does anybody want to see a little pig man running around, talking and oinking and shit? I don't. That's the product of my worst fucking nightmares. Little fucking pig man with a little knife while I'm sleeping. Jesus Christ. Oink, oink, oinking as he fucking stabs me to death in my sleep. No. Ay. This is crazy. The researchers inserted copies of the human MCPH1 gene, which is crucial for brain development, into 11 monkey embryos through a virus that carried the gene. This makes me think of that crappy Will Smith movie where they took a virus and they re-engineered it to kill cancer, and it just turned everybody into fucking zombies except for a few people that had immunity. 6 of the monkeys died. This sounds just like that fucking movie, the Planet of the Apes. They used a virus in that to mutate the fucking monkeys' brains and make them super smart. And then the monkeys, they got that mutation, they passed it on to their children. And then those fucking children took over the world after that virus mutated again and became lethal to humans. And then there weren't enough humans left to fight all these fucking super genius fucking monkeys. Did they learn? Did you see the possible fucking negative consequences here? Playing around with viruses and shit in this way? Oh, nothing will hurt us. We're so smart. Yeah. The arrogance. However, the 5 that survived showed apparent strides in their cognitive functions. You don't say. You're introducing genes to develop their brains, and their brains were more developed. According to the study, those 5 monkeys did not show much difference in their general behavior or the size of their brains, but they went through brain scans and memory tests that showed improvements in short-term memory, reaction times, and brain development. Okay. Interesting. The study says the monkeys have potential to provide important and potentially unique insights into basic questions of what actually makes humans unique. I already know what makes us unique. We're smart because of evolution, as well as into disorders and clinically relevant phenotypes such as neurodegenerative and social behavior disorders that are difficult to study by other means. I see. But the study also set off a debate about genetically modifying animals. I don't give a fuck. And whether experiments like this could lead to even more extreme modifications. From what I understand, the Soviet Union tried some of this and made some monkey people. But they euthanasiaed the results because they were just too disturbing. But this was like under Stalin and shit. He wanted to make an army of ape men that had low enough intelligence that they would be easily manipulated, but smart enough so that they could follow more complex commands and use automatic weapons and shit. Yeah, that's real bright. That's real bright. Stalin wasn't too bright, by the way. He believed in witchcraft and psychic abilities and shit. I'm not going to get into that, though. Anyway, yeah. Well, This is crazy. It also raised questions about what would happen to animals who have human-like intelligence since they are not equipped to survive that way. Yeah. You see, evolution didn't give them intelligence like a human. You know, they didn't give animals human intelligence because they didn't need it to survive, you see. The environment shapes you, okay? Now, humans, of course, have developed the ability to shape our environment. But regardless, evolution gives you the tools you need to survive, okay? Monkeys are so strong because they need that strength. They climb up trees, they swing around by one arm. They're very physically active, and they need their physical strength to survive in the environment they exist within. And the intelligence that they have is the exact amount they need to survive in that environment, okay? Now, if they left that environment and set off on a sojourn similar to that of our ancient ancestors, then over hundreds of thousands and millions of years, by entering new and varying environments and having to adapt or die, they would develop, that is, greater intelligence, okay? To be more adaptable, to make different tools, to survive in the different environments that they are entering into. And then they would, over that time, lose their physical strength to a certain extent because they wouldn't need it as much. Okay, but if you start artificially introducing high intelligence into these fucking monkeys and you give them comparable intelligence to a human and they still have their great physical strength, yeah. Oh, no, I don't see any problems with that. No threat. Super genius monkeys with great strength as well that wouldn't be created by evolution. Because evolution is very efficient, right? It does away with what isn't needed and only keeps that which is required. This is playing with fire, man. Literally playing with fucking fire. The use of transgenic monkeys to study human genes linked to brain evolution is a very risky road to take. Yeah. Says James Sekela, geneticist who has conducted similar studies with primates at the University of Colorado. It's a classic slippery slope issue and one that we can expect to recur as this type of research is pursued. This is just really, really scary. It wouldn't be hard for this to get out of hand if just one monkey was able to get out and, propagate with other monkeys and spread this human intelligence gene into the population of wild monkeys. Well, you could see a dramatic uptick in their intelligence in a very short period of time. I could imagine monkeys running around Africa and invading human villages and just clubbing them to death, right? This is crazy. Forming into tribes, attacking humans in their own little armies, and they're so much stronger. Wow. The geneticist who led the study said he is already working on bigger experiments. Yeah, why don't we just introduce this human gene in every animal? Let's make super smart elephants, too. Yeah. And lions. Yeah, let's introduce it into lions and sharks. Yeah. Remember that? What was that stupid series of movies on TV, Sharknado? Bizarre. So bigger experiments on human and animal intelligence. Bing Su, a geneticist at the Kunming Institute of Zoology, told MIT Technology Review he has been adding a DNA variant called sRGA-P2C, which is a crucial link in the emergence of human intelligence to monkeys. He said the results of those studies have yet to come. All it would take is one whack job in a laboratory. All it would take is some pita nut jobs or their equivalent in China, if they have such people in China who would risk getting their heads lopped off or the bullet in the head. I'm going to go and free the monkeys. We're the Chinese equivalent of PETA. Let's free them. And then they get out into the wild and they mate with wild monkeys. And before you know it, you've had this whole race of fucking super smart monkeys attacking and killing humans en masse. That's all it would take is one nut job, letting one monkey out. This is really dangerous stuff. This is crazy. This is why I told you, this is some crazy shit, man. All right, but wow, isn't that nuts? The hubris of scientists. It seems like they only do things because they can. This seems cool. Let's introduce human intelligence genes into every animal on Earth. Then they'll rise up and kill us all. Yes. So smart, right? Intelligence is the one thing that separates us from all the other fucking animals on the planet. You start introducing artificially human intelligence into species that also have far greater strength than us. No, I couldn't go wrong. No, we have guns and nukes. Yeah. You don't think a monkey could use a fucking gun if you gave him an uptick in intelligence a bit? 5, 10 more IQ points? What are you kidding? I just watched a video the other day of a monkey using Instagram. What? He's scrolling through the fucking screens. And he's doing it randomly, too. He's, I like this video, clicking on that. And he's not, like, moving systematically the same amount, screen by screen, like 1, 2, 3, and then clicking on the exact same point on the screen, which would tell you that he was somehow coached. He's very random about it. He's picking videos he likes, broads on beaches, naked broads, dancing monkeys, smoking cigars and shit. And he's using Instagram. I'm like, what the fuck? You give him an uptick in IQ a little bit more, he'll be able to figure out guns easy enough. You can teach him language already. Coco, the fucking sign language monkey. Jesus Christ. Give her an uptick of 10, 15 IQ points. See what happens. Yeah, we really want to do this, huh? So stupid. Oh, my God. All right, let me move on. Let's move on, shall we? Well, this next story is nuts. I'm still having pictures of fucking little pigmen. Can you imagine little pigmen running around on 2 feet on them little hooves with that little fucking tail, the curly fry tail, with fucking dual knives, run around stabbing like this? It's crazy. It's crazy. Wow, you would think that would frighten the shit out of people enough that they would stop doing this kind of stuff, trying to crossbreed humans and pigmen. Which, by the way, has happened. They've already introduced human genes, some wacky scientist, into pigs and sheep. Can you imagine talking sheep? Talking pigs? Oh, God. All right, enough. All right, this next story is also bizarro. North Carolina may finally let women revoke consent during sex. Why? Why would you want to do this? This just... I don't understand. It's just another weapon to create division between men and women by giving women an added tool, an added weapon to use against men. Oh, he didn't answer me back. He ghosted me. Well, I can say that he didn't stop having sex with me when I wanted him to stop having sex with me. And it's just a he said, she said, and they'll always believe me over him so I can get him back. Because, it seems like most of the women out there these days are psychos. So in North Carolina, a person's initial consent to sexual activity can later prevent them from seeking justice if things turn ugly or violent. Wait, what does that mean? Turn ugly. I don't know what that means. So what does that mean? I understand the violent part. And you shouldn't be able to just, say, by the way, if a woman says stop, you stop. I've had that happen. You stop. Okay. You're too big or whatever, or slow down, more lube, I don't know. I've heard it all. But, yeah. But why would you need some kind of special law to say that women can revoke consent during sex? I mean, violence is already illegal. Wouldn't you just charge them with violence? And what does turn ugly mean? I don't understand that. What does that mean? That's so vague and nondescript. That could mean anything. See, I have a real problem with laws that are that vague. I mean, it allows you to interpret, to apply your own interpretation. Law should be very, very specific and narrowly focused so people can't just, have them mean whatever the hell they want them to mean to fit their own agendas or biases. Violence, again, there's already laws against that. And by the way, why would you be violent? I mean, unless it was something you agreed upon, right? You got like a control word or something. It gets a little too uncomfortable. I've been with a few broads that like this BDSM stuff. Bizarre shit. Choke me, slap me, smack my ass. It's like, I didn't go as far as, some of these broads that wanted you to do like really, really, really extreme shit. So much so that they would have to like have a safe word, safety word. Like you're choking them. It's like, I don't know how they would be able to speak, by the way, if I'm choking them, but I'm supposed to read their lips. Like, the safe word is Gungan. It's like, what the fuck kind of safety word is that? Oh, I like Star Wars. Gungan. I think that's some race or something from Star Wars, and, how the hell is she going to speak when I'm choking her? Well, that's her choice. But, of course, she could later claim that, no, I didn't ask for BDSM. He choked me. Here are his finger marks. So I never went that far. Any broads that asked that of me, I was like, no, I pass. You could use that against me. Now, granted, she could be like that crazy chick, that video that's all over the internet, hitting herself in the leg with a fucking hammer and then accusing the guy. Or that one nutty broad that beat herself up in the fucking elevator before she went out and told the police, my boyfriend did it. And I forgot there was a fucking camera in the elevator. So violence already has its own laws. Why would you need to couple that with revoking consent during sex? I don't understand. This is weird. So for several years, legislators have declined to close this loophole. Oh, it's a loophole, is it? By whose accounting? I don't get this. If you consent to sex, and why would you ask the guy to quit anyway? I mean, don't you like sex? Why? What if he's not paying attention? What if he's in the zone, huh? What does he do then? Or what if you ask him right before he busts his nut? And he doesn't stop for 5 seconds. Uh-oh! He's guilty of a crime! It's ridiculous. This just seems like a way to me of giving women yet another tool to attack men who just pump and dump them. You only wanted me for sex! You only wanted me for my money. What's the difference? You're a cock hopper too, honey. You're hopping from cock to cock to cock. You don't take men or relationships seriously. Why do you expect men to take you seriously when you don't take them seriously? Anyway, that's not a loophole. But advocates believe that 2019 can be the last year that no means no. What does that mean, no? But you said yes. I don't understand. I don't understand this. And what does that have to do with violence? And what does that mean, turn ugly? Again, that's a totally separate category. If things turn, why would you get violent anyway? You're already having access. You got free access. She gave you consent. Pound away. What would you get violent for it? This is so stupid. That's like that fucking lynching law, right? Ain't nobody been lynched in 60 plus fucking years. But we need to pass a law anyway to virtue signal. But the obvious goal of this is just to further alienate men and women. To give the man-hating feminists out there, the psychos, yet more ammo against men. Yes. So after 3 previous submissions, they're hopeful that this bill will finally receive enough bipartisan support in the coming weeks to become a law. I hope not. I hope not. First of all, how do you even prove this? There's no way. I mean, you would have to have a presumption of guilt from the start because it's just a he said, she said. How do you prove it? What, she got a camera going? That's illegal. You can't film somebody without their consent in a private space. In a public space, sure, but not in a private space. You can't use that as proof against somebody. It wouldn't be admissible. So how? I mean, unless it was consensual. Yeah, let's film it. And they consented on it, both parties, in which case, you know, if there wasn't any obvious coercion or physical violence, what, did she whispered in his ear and the camera's mic didn't pick it up? Oh, I whispered for him to stop and he didn't, but I didn't show any signs of trauma during the act, but I was feeling it internally. I was weeping inside. Arrest him. What the fuck? It is going to get so bad that men are going to have to actually literally film sex, and they won't have sex with a woman unless they get some kind of signed consent form to film it so they have actual proof. And even then, that wouldn't be proof because the Wayman could just say, well, I whispered to him to stop. And I didn't show any outward signs in the video of being in any type of traumatic state, but I internalized it, you see. This is going to get to the point where nobody's going to have sex with anybody. This is crazy. So this is yet another barrier to reporting sexual assault and choosing to participate in the criminal justice system. Yeah, but meaning not by not having this a law in place. Unfortunately, our system isn't set up to protect survivors. That seems to me like all it's set up to do, okay? And it seems to me like it encourages people to be victims, to be survivors, because there's way too many rewards for them, okay? Give me a GoFundMe account, like that fucking judge that let a illegal alien out the back door. Turn off all the recording devices in court for 52 seconds so we can let him out the back door, because I feel bad for him, and I don't want him to be sent back to Mexico or Honduras. Hey, in 24 hours, she made like $30,000 in her fucking GoFundMe account. There's a lot of fucking money to be in a fucking victim these days, okay? Or just pushing the leftist narrative. Yeah, this is crazy. So, yeah. Because of this is crazy. It's set up to benefit perpetrators. No, it's not. No, it's not. All a woman has to do is accuse a man of rape, and there's no proof required. He goes to jail because women don't lie, right? Why would she make up being raped? I don't know, because she gets lots of virtue signaling points and lots of support and can open a GoFundMe or something and, I don't know, make $1 million like that broad that accused fucking Kavanaugh. And then she said, I spent it on security for a 2-month period. Yeah, right. There's no security firm cost that much for 2 months, honey. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of crap. Oh, yeah, it protects perpetrators. Really? I haven't noticed that. It's the criminal justice system. It's designed to punish criminals, but it's protecting criminals? Are these by the way, these are the same leftist pinhead idiots who are always talking about there's so many blacks in prison because blacks are discriminated against and judges are just grabbing them off the street and tossing them in the slammer. Is it protecting them? Is it protecting those perpetrators? You idiots. You morons. So, because of the widespread knowledge about this issue, survivors aren't reporting their rapes. Wait. If you give consent to somebody and, you tell them to stop and they wait a minute. Wait a second, I'm almost done. Would you stop already? I don't want you with me anymore. Okay, this is getting really serious. Stop. Oh, okay, now I'm done. You go to jail for that? Really? But you gave consent. By the way, again, if a woman says stop, stop. She shouldn't. Because, it's like buying a car, right? You make an agreement, consent, I consent, you consent, and the whole point is to get to that conclusion, the climax, right? Now with a car, it's I give you the money, you give me the pink slip, the car is mine. The deal's done. Case closed. It's like being an Indian giver. It's like after the fact, oh, wait a second, I changed my mind. I don't like the deal we made. I want the car back. You already made a deal. You don't get to fucking renege on the deal, but apparently you do. Yeah, women have no honor. I keep that in your head, gentlemen. Women have no sense of honor at all. This is so dumb. So stupid. Well, how often does this happen anyway? It's like one or two times in my whole life, okay, that I've had something like this happen, okay? And I think it was because in one case the broad had been in a bad relationship and she was still emotional. In another case, I think it was just uncomfortable. But otherwise, it's very rare. Well, most women don't want you to stop. How often does this happen? Good Lord. I think this says a lot about the snowflake nature of women these days. They need all this protection. I thought you women are strong and independent. You don't need this kind of protection? Men don't have this kind of protection. Oh, but we're the perpetrators and oppressors. We don't need protection, right? We're like 4 times more likely to be assaulted and killed on the street than a woman. 4 times more likely to be murder victims. But apparently women are the victims. Okay. So, being the only state in the nation to hold out on an issue would be noble if the issue were important. Instead, North Carolina is still operating under archaic definitions whereby sex that begins consensually but continues by force is not considered a crime. Okay. This is like the same exact way they got laws passed to make abortion legal. I mean, what are the number of abortions that need to be done because of rape? It's something like 1% or something like that. It's like a small number, yet they use that to make abortion legal. Oh, well, you got to be able to get an abortion if you're raped. And rape happens so often, and let's, exaggerate it to the point where people think that rapes are happening a lot more than they are, so we can get our agenda passed. That's all this is. How often do you have sex with some broad and it becomes violent? Again, violence is generally speaking only used when it begins non-consensually. Again, why would a man get violent during the act, okay, when he's already getting what he wants? It's not very often that something like that happens, and if it does, you charge him with assault. You don't need a second law that accounts for, withdrawing of consent. What the hell does that mean? This is only to punish people who are having consensual sex. And then the woman later on wants to use the encounter as a way to get back at the guy for being jilted or whatever. That's it. This is total nonsense. All right, I'm going to move on. These stories just really irk me. By the way, I finally got myself a thermos. No more running to my kitchen to make a new cup of Java. Yes. It keeps the coffee, not well, we'll see if it keeps it hot. This is the maiden voyage of this coffee. This is the first time I've used this thermos. We'll see how well it insulates and keeps it hot. Let me see. Woo! Whoa! It's fucking too hot to drink. That's what I wanted, baby. All right, let's move on. Burnt my fucking tongue, in fact. That's a good fucking bottle. I had a hell of a time finding a good thermos, by the way. Most of them have shitty plastic bodies. Now, when I was a kid, they made good thermoses, okay? I mean, now they want to make everybody into a fucking soy boy. Everything's made out of plastic. And this one has a plastic top, so I just have to be careful. If I take it outside, I put it in my bag, I'll just have to surround it with stuff so that it stays upright and the coffee doesn't make contact with the lid, because that hot water, that hot coffee will leach out, degrade the plastic, and a lot of BPA, bisphenol A, would leach into the coffee, and I don't want that. But the inside is all metal, and the body is metal. It's double-layered metal, in fact, with insulation in between. But yeah, when I was a kid, they had cork. And the inside of the thermos would be covered in glass, and then insulation around that. And there wasn't plastic. You just had a cork that went into the top and then a lid over the cork. I haven't been able to find anything like that. Apparently, they don't make thermoses like that anymore and haven't in like 40 years. I'm old. All right, so this next story is just a laugh out loud to me. Fat sex therapist says diet culture is a form of assault. Imagine that. Fat people think being told to go on a diet is an assault. I bet. In the same way, I guess that drug addicts view people taking away their drugs or threatening to take away their drugs as some form of assault. Oh, my God. So, fat sex therapist says that weight loss science is white supremacy. Really? I mean, what about fat black people that want to lose weight? What is that, like internalized racism, self-hate? Is that also a product of white supremacy? And they're just internalizing that? A woman who calls herself the fat sex therapist, I have to wonder how much knowledge this woman would actually have about sex. I mean, I've talked about this before. Yes, there's plenty of dudes out there that are chubby chasers and will bang fat chicks and, in fact, like that. There's lots of websites for that. Well, maybe a few websites anyway, where a woman can get laid. But I don't know that that would make her an expert in regards to sex, okay? But anyway, so she gave a speech at St. Olaf. Boy, even the name of that college sounds obese. College in Minnesota, during which she claimed that diet culture, is there such a thing as diet culture? I don't think it's like veganism. Veganism is like a fucking culture, you know? All these loser people making their ideology into their way of identifying who they are, getting their sense of self mixed up with something that is really a small part or supposed to be a small part of your life. Are there really people out there that, you know, make diet the entire part of their existence? I guess there are, but I don't think there's nearly as many as a lot of these vegan nuts. But anyway, diet culture is a form of assault, and that weight loss science was white supremacy. I truly believe that a child cannot consent to being on a diet. Well, children can't consent to much at all. Okay? It's kind of the point of having parents. They're supposed to make decisions for you that are good for you and your health. Can't consent to being on a diet the same way a child cannot consent to having sex. Well, she's just mixed up a positive and a negative there. So, what? Wait, what? What is she talking about? So already this doesn't make any sense. So a child can't consent to being on a diet. Okay, first of all, that would imply that diets are harmful, okay? And we know they're not. Kids having sex, we know from years and years of evidence, both anecdotal, scientific, observational. There's scientific evidence that shows that kids having sex, especially with adults, it's bad for them, and it's morally reprehensible. But dieting? No. That is in no way, shape, or form harmful to a child. Okay? Now, granted, if you're like an anorexic or something, that's like dieting on fucking steroids. You know, you're 80-pound fucking skeleton walking around. Look like somebody that just came out of Auschwitz, okay? That's not good. But if you're fat and getting thin, that's good for you. But of course, she's trying to draw some kind of equivalency here by saying that dieting is somehow just as harmful as children having sex. No, it's not. They're not even the same ballpark. So apples and oranges. So, she's making a categorization error here. She doesn't understand logic. So Sonali Rashawar told the audience during a 2-hour speech, she could make a 2-hour speech, really? Well, I guess she's sitting down. She might be huffing and puffing. Because I guess just talking that much would probably tire her out. On the topic of radical fat liberation. Oh, boy. How is that liberating to be a fat pig? And isn't there a moral problem? I mean, I thought these people were really moral. Isn't it bad to eat enough food for 3 or 4 people? I mean, what about those starving kids in Nicaragua and all over Africa and in other parts of the world? I mean, isn't it morally objectionable to you leftist scum for this big fat broad to be eating enough food to feed 4 starving people? I mean, what about all these fatties in the world? If they all gave up the amount of food that's required to sustain that bulk and just ate a normal diet, you could feed all the starving people in the world. You want to talk about hoarding wealth and hoarding resources? These motherfuckers are hoarding it in their own fucking bodies. Jesus Christ. Oh, but I don't have a problem with that. I experience diet culture as a form of assault because it impacts the way I experience my body. Wasn't that your problem? I don't hold a gun to your head and tell you how to view yourself. So she's talking about her self-image, and she's trying to say that people pushing the idea of me needing to lose weight makes me feel bad about myself. Well, first of all, I don't make you feel anything. And you don't make me feel anything. You can call me a cocksucker. You can call me a cunt. You can call me a douchebag. You can call me whatever you want. What the fuck do I care? I don't care. Call me what you want. Fuck off. I don't give a shit. Doesn't bother me unless I choose for it to bother me. But I'm a little puppet and you have power over me. Well, that's your problem, honey. And that's your choice, too. Rash Tawar went on to assert that science was a tool of white supremacy. Right, because science says things you don't want to hear, meaning facts about being obese that make it not quite a good option, right? Yeah. Essentially, science can and does say that being fat is bad for you, and there's a number of examples as to why it's bad for you. I don't want to hear that. It's white supremacy. We should be critical of the use of science and the production of knowledge. Production of knowledge. See, okay, so this is leftist nonsense. Knowledge isn't produced, okay? I'm sorry that you think that everything that we know is just some kind of social construction. Reality is nothing more than perception, and we're just creating it as we go. There's no objective facts. Everything we know is just produced. Yeah, okay. Yeah, nonsense. What total nonsense. Use of science and the production of knowledge to continue promoting this idea that certain bodies are fit, able, and desirable. But so she's denying fact. She's a fact denier, okay? She likes being fat, she just doesn't like facts about fatness. Or she has her own facts, right? Yeah, of course, I want to accept myself the way I am, so you need to stop talking about facts. I have my own truth. How dare you try to make me believe in reality being objective and not subjective? I want to believe what I want to believe, God damn it. Yeah. So, she goes on to say, is it my fatness that causes my high blood pressure? Yeah. Yeah. Or is it my experience of weight stigma? What? So essentially what she's trying to say is, it's not the fat that's making my blood pressure spike so high you could see the veins throbbing out of the side of my head and my neck is popping out and it looks like my head's going to explode. No, that's not the fat. It's your nasty words about the truth that I don't believe in. It's just a fabrication. All knowledge is fabricated. Yeah, okay. Rachatoire asked, going on to claim that fat phobia was a form of Nazism. So crazy. Right. Well, anything that she doesn't want to hear is apparently Nazism, which, is everything that the left says, right? You say something I don't like, you're a Nazi. So Rachatoire went on to argue that people shouldn't be burdened with personal responsibility for weight loss. Apparently, they shouldn't be burdened with any personal responsibility at all. Even though these same kind of people, and I guarantee you, she's for universal health care, no doubt. I bet you her bills are huge. I bet you the amount of money that it costs to provide this woman with health care. God, good God, could you imagine the blood thinners alone? The medication to keep her blood pressure down so her head doesn't explode? I mean, holy shit! Yeah, sure, she wants other people to be burdened with the responsibility of taking care of her. Meanwhile, I don't have any personal responsibility for myself. Yes, I should have no personal responsibility for weight loss, and that social supports should be in place to help fat people subsidize their food costs. Oh, wow. Okay, that's going a step too far, okay? Now, first of all, it's wrong to try and shunt off your personal responsibility onto other people by arguing for universal health care, regardless of whether or not you're in good health or bad. By the way, this woman is in very bad health. So that's wrong right there. You're making other people your slaves. You're telling them they have to treat you. You went to medical school for 8 years. You spent 4 years in residency. Oh, well, you have to treat me even if I pay you a chicklet. Here's a chicklet. Now you got to treat me because the state says you have to, right? And meanwhile, the few productive people left are paying for your ass, or the government's just printing money ad infinitum and making everybody else's labor worth less as the days go by. Yeah. Everybody else is responsible for me except me. And she wants people to subsidize her food costs too. What an entitled bitch. All right, wait, so let me get this straight. You want to eat as much as you want and just be this fat tub of goo that eventually isn't going to be able to move. And we're going to have to create this big fucking platform on wheels like Jabba the Hutt had in his fucking palace. And when Jabba wanted to move around, see me Jedi, they had to fucking roll him over to that fucking hole in the ground where fucking Luke Skywalker was fighting that big giant, I don't remember what the fuck that thing was called. Eventually threw a rock and hit a fucking mechanism and the door dropped on it. That's going to be you, lady. But I should have to pay for that, right? Yeah. Wrong. She also said that the Christchurch shooter being a fitness instructor is proof that Nazis really love this idea of an idealized body. Correlation does not equal causation. Just because somebody's fit doesn't make them a Nazi because one person who was a fitness instructor turned out to be a nut job and possibly a Nazi. We don't know. Yeah, she has no grasp of logic at all. Where did she come up with this stuff? Yeah, just pulls it out of her fucking ass, which would be very difficult. By the way, I doubt she's been able to touch her ass or wipe her own ass in quite some fucking time. How does a fat broad like this wipe her ass anyway? Good God. That's got to be a chore. I bet she doesn't. I bet she doesn't wipe her ass. How could she? Could you imagine reaching around all that fucking fat? It's impossible. It's impossible. My guess is she just waits until she takes a shower and just sticks the fucking shower nozzle up in there. Oy vey. Or maybe she's just inventing pseudo-intellectual excuses for being fat and lazy, said the writer in a closing response to this woman. Yeah. I love the entitlement. I want to be fat my whole life. And I have all these wonderful excuses, and you should have to pay for my food bills. And, of course, my health care, too. Which you know is her standing. You know that she believes in that as well, universal health care. I mean, she's okay with having you subsidize her food costs. She's a socialist. What an idiot. What an idiot. Dieting is white supremacy. Oh, my God. This is crazy. Fat sex therapist. How is this? Would you go to this for help with your sex life? Oh, my God. It's crazy. And of course she thinks everything's a fabrication, right? Because she's a leftist. They all believe that everything's a social construct. Everything, both facts and knowledge, it's all just a fabrication. Knowledge is just produced. And it's whoever's in power at the time and in the dominant position that creates said knowledge and then calls it facts. Yeah. That's what she wants to do. And that's what these people do. That's not how reality actually is, but that's how they want reality to be, right? She's an idiot. All right, let's move on, shall we, to the next crazy story. Oh, God. It just gets nuttier and nuttier. All right, listen to this. I didn't have sex with my husband for 5 months, and he had an affair. Excuse me. In addition to earache, I also have the allergies. Bad allergies. Anyway. All right, this is dumb. Yet more female ignorance of how reality actually works. So, while walking up the stairs in our home one February evening, almost 8 years ago, I thought to myself, well, it's been a while. We should have sex. Right, because as the woman, she decides. I can already tell that this guy is a puss, a wuss, and he's given her way too much power and let her have her own way and wear the pants for far too long. Woman like this, you got to take her under control. You got to control a broad like this to a certain extent. You can't let him get this out of control. You can't let the relationship get to a point where she has too much power, okay? And I'm not talking about trying to control her. You have to try and control the situation, that you both exist within, insofar as your participation in that situation. And instead, he's given her control of him. I never tell guys to try to control women, because eventually the more you try to control something, the less control you actually have. It's like trying to fucking squeeze an eel. It's just going to slip out of your hand, okay? So, no, control you, okay? Control you. Trust me, that's all you need to do. But this guy's apparently given up all control. So she goes on to say, I crawled into bed exhausted, as always. And maybe you should try exercising, sweetheart. After putting my kids to bed. Well, you're the one that decided to have those kids. And you decided to be in a marriage, and marriage comes with certain responsibilities. If you have so little stamina, maybe you should try going to the gym. Maybe you should try taking up exercise as well as eating better, sleeping better. Then you might have the energy required to perform your duties for your husband, who's going out and earning the fucking money. All right, so she says, at the time, my kids were 3, 5, and 7. And it took everything I had to get through the day alone. It's called being a wife, okay? You think your husband likes going to work all day? I guarantee you, his job is harder than yours. I'm sorry, sweetheart, but the 7-year-old is in school. And the 5-year-old might be in kindergarten. So you're having to spend all day with a 3-year-old. Yeah, so fucking hard. No risk of being fired, honey, okay? No boss breathing down your fucking neck. No deadlines. You can sit and watch Oprah while you cradle this little fucking kid. Tell him to shut up. Whack him on the head with a fucking paper. It's not going to hurt him. Tell him to keep his mouth quiet. I don't know. Be an actual good parent and have consequences to actions instead of rewarding the kid for acting badly. You'll be amazed how much better they behave. Yeah, her job is so hard, but his job is so easy. Women have always been like this, right? Oh, he's out of the house. And of course, I have no imagination or empathy, even though I like to say I do, so I can't really imagine how hard his job must be compared to mine. So I think I've got this horrible life and this horrible existence, and he's having the time of his life out there. Working 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, fighting traffic back and forth. Yeah, that's got to be fucking, that's a dream. Yeah, okay, honey. Okay. Actually, you got it made in the fucking shade. And the fact that all you have to do is occasionally have sex with the guy and spend time with your own kids. Ooh, so difficult. Yeah. Talk about an entitled, jaded cunt. And it took everything I had to get through the day alone. Well, my husband worked long hours. Yeah, he worked long hours. He had an actual job. He brought home the fucking bacon. You shouldn't be complaining, bitch. You should be doing everything you fucking can to thank him for providing you with a fucking great life. Oh, but no! I can't do everything. I have to make excuses and be a lazy cunt because I want to have some control. I want to have as much control as possible, so I'm going to use sex as a weapon and withhold it from him so I feel more powerful. There's that feminist bullshit ruining relationships. So she goes on to say, I was thankful his job afforded me the time to stay at home, and so was he. You're thankful for that, but you're not that thankful. I don't understand this. Ladies, You really don't have to do anything except lie there, okay? You could be like a refrigerator. I guarantee you that a husband, well, all right, she's not doing very much, but at least she's making herself available. I understand she's tired. She's working with the kids all day, and, she's lazy ass. She's watching fucking TV most of the day. Yeah, she could intersperse her time with the one kid that's still at home with exercise, but she didn't want to do that. And then wants to make excuses instead about why she has no energy to give me what she agreed to give me when we got fucking married. But apparently women have no honor, so they don't fucking stick to contracts, okay? So why should I marry you to begin with? But anyway, yeah. She goes on to say, but it was a big commitment. And by the time he got home, most nights, I felt I had nothing left. My husband and I didn't end up connecting that night or the next. Whose fault is that? It's your fault. That's your fault, and that's your choice. You could just lay there. I don't get it. It doesn't take energy for... This is great. This is great. Women have become so entitled, they don't even want to give the man what he wants or needs unless they want it or need it. Well, I'm not in the mood, so, I'm not going to give you sex tonight. But you agreed to do that when we got married, whenever I wanted it. And why do you think I got married to begin with? I got married to have easy access. Why would I marry you if I have no access? You're not giving me what I need, sweetheart. Well, I'm not in the mood. Well, I am. And that's all that matters, okay? And then you do what your partner needs to be happy, and then he will reciprocate in the future. Oh, but no, I'm not going to sacrifice anything. It's all about me because I'm a woman, and of course, that means I'm a narcissist. So if I'm not in the mood, you're not getting any. God forbid I just lay there and starfish, which is probably what she does anyway, even when she does claim to be in the mood or have enough energy, which is obviously very rarely. So before I knew it, she said, 3 months had passed with 0 sex, then 4, then 5. Feminism, people. Feminism. I can tell you what happened with this broad without even needing to hear her backstory. Spent her teens bebopping around from cock to cock, getting dumped a lot, getting her heart broken a lot, losing her ability to pair bond with a man. Thereby, she's only going to care about what he can bring to the table financially, resource-wise, and not about his virtues. And thereby, she's not going to develop any resources internally of her own, meaning virtues and values. So she's not going to get turned on by sex with somebody that she loves because she can't really love somebody in any real way. She's only going to love what they bring to the table, what they provide in the form of resources. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Then spent her early 20s bebopping from cock to cock, too. Then she met him. Finally, a guy that she could be in a stable relationship with, but she really couldn't appreciate his quality, his values, his virtues, because she has no virtues. And she doesn't have the ability to pair bond with him and care about him on a deeper level beyond what he provides resource-wise. So yeah, give him what he needs. Pfft, why bother? Why bother? I don't really care about this person. He's just there to provide for me. And if he gets tired of me, cheats on me, I can blame him and divorce his ass, and I'll get a lot more money and a lot more resources than I do now. Because Big Daddy Government will take care of me and make sure he pays out the ass. Yeah, great. She goes on to say, I'm not even sure we kissed in those months or how many times we embraced. So, if you've ever been in a long-term relationship, you'll know that women these days, because of feminism, they don't put that much effort into maintaining a relationship. Why? They don't have to. Because they actually get rewarded if the relationship breaks down. So on a deep down subconscious level, most of these women want it to break down. And they have no incentive to keep it going. So, why put any effort out, right? Right, ladies? So, it goes on to say, I was tired and had 0 sex drive. I don't understand this. What does that mean, I was tired? What does that mean? I work every fucking day, sometimes 7 days a week. I get tired a lot. I'm kind of old now. Not a young man anymore, but guess what I do? I work anyway. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? There's something really, really amazing about human beings, and it's that we can still do shit even when we're tired because we know we have to, because it's a requirement. If we don't do it, shit's gonna fall apart. If I don't go to work and make the cheddar, I don't have a house. I'd be living on the street. I'd be eating bugs and shit. Oh, well. Negative consequences. Oh, no. No negative consequences for ladies. No accountability. So why bother? Why bother, right? So it goes on to say, it was the following fall. Oh, so he was like resentful and felt neglected, she says. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what I was saying earlier, what I was going to say, if you've been in a long-term relationship, it's something for some relationships, you reach a point where, the feminist cunt that she might have hidden for a long time, eventually that feminism rears its ugly head, and she starts to say, no, I'm not in the mood, I don't feel like it, meaning I really don't want to put out the effort anymore. I think I've suckered you in enough. I think I've baited and switched you enough. I think I've hooked you enough so that now you'll be willing to tolerate less. Now, every time that happened, I kicked their asses to the fucking curb. Bye-bye. I remember that happened with a 3.5-year relationship. I said, goodbye, bitch. Her true self came out. She started to essentially deny and saying, I'm tired. I don't feel like it. Bye. I didn't make any ultimatums. I said, I'm going to control me. These are red flags. I know what they mean. Bye-bye. You see these red flags, by the way, you need to run, okay? If a woman actually cares about you, she's not going to say no, and vice versa. And I told her from the start of the relationship, you ever want sex, I'll give it to you. Doesn't matter if I'm tired, if I don't feel like it, I'll still give it to you. And I did. There was never one time she came to me and wanted sex that I didn't give it to her. And yeah, there were times I was tired. She'd just go down on me. 5 minutes later, off to the races. Not that difficult. But apparently this is asking too much of women to put some actual effort into the relationship. Yeah. Hey, ladies, I got news for you. You can still do shit even if you're tired. I know that your mommies told you and taught you that the old, I'm tired line gets you off the hook for having to do anything. But in reality, it doesn't get you off the hook for shit. You can still move around and be mobile if you're tired. You're not like to energize a fucking bunny where your batteries run out. You don't fucking bang that little fucking drum anymore that drives you nuts. Throw that fucking thing out the window. Yeah, you're not the Energizer Bunny. You can do shit even if you're tired. You just choose not to. That's on you. So, it goes on to say, it was the following fall when he told me about the affair he had that summer. It's over now, but you hadn't touched me for almost 6 months. So, okay, this situation right here is very common, and this is her fault. It's not his fault. Well, I mean that it got to this point is his fault. He didn't exercise any real control over himself, over his own autonomy. He let this go on this long. There were no consequences. He didn't exercise control over himself. He didn't tell her, okay, you can do this, but I'm out the fucking door. There's going to be actual consequences to your lack of action. Okay? So you're essentially ignoring our relationship and not doing the required work to sustain it. Not caring enough about me to make even the slightest effort to sustain our relationship. He did none of that. So that part is on him, okay? And the part where she just, chose not to put any effort in is on her. They're really both responsible here, to be honest. Men, you need to understand something, okay? Women want a man to be in charge. I mean, deep down they do, okay? Women are submissive by nature. Now, I know a bunch of crazy, wacky feminists out there might be watching. Probably not. I don't think my content is their soup du jour. But some of them might be out there and they might be freaking out. How dare you try to generalize all women like that? We're not like that at all, as they generalize. I generalize, but that's okay because I'm a Wayman. And I can generalize about men too, but you can't generalize about us. Okay. I love your double standards, ladies, but how dare you generalize about women in such a way? It's true. It's true. Nothing's changed. You all try to act like you're strong and independent. Meanwhile, you need the state to take care of you and protect you with all these pro-feminist laws, gynocentric laws. Yeah, you're so strong and independent, right? Give me a break. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I mean, this is both their faults, right? This guy, first, for marrying this broad, there must have been red flags. But he married her anyway. And he let this go on for 6 fucking months. He should have exercised some autonomy, exercised some control, and said, hey, you can continue not to give me sex. That's fine. But I'm moving out. Problem solved. He shouldn't have stuck around. He shouldn't have stuck around. So it goes on to say, when you hear the person you love and trust and have 3 kids with is capable of that kind of betrayal. You mean like the kind of betrayal where you agree to love, honor, obey, and provide him with what he needs, and you play all these little fucking games, and you essentially do everything you possibly can to sabotage the relationship, which is a form of betrayal in and of itself? And then you have the nerve and the audacity to accuse him of betraying you? That's rich. That is rich. She goes on to say, you're numb at first. You sit and wait for the pain to come. Yeah, she doesn't feel any pain. Come on. This one's a psycho. Kind of like when you stub your toe and there's a second when you feel nothing. You don't feel nothing, honey. Then you feel it. Oh, the rush takes your breath away. Well, what did you expect to happen? I don't feel... Sex is a need, okay? This is a grown-ass man, fully matured, in a relationship with a woman, constantly getting his furnace stoked, his juices flowing, and constantly being denied again and again and again by his own fucking wife. What's your problem? And what's his incentive to be with you, huh? If you're constantly denying him what he needs to survive. Huh? You want to eat? I'm sorry, I have no food for you. You pay the bills, but I'm not going to cook for you. I'm not going to give you any food. And then you complain when I go out to eat. What are you going out to eat for? There's no food in the house, bitch. What do you mean, what am I going out to eat for? Food is a necessity. Water is a necessity. It's like I deny you what you need to survive, and then you complain when I go somewhere else for it? What are you, out of your mind? She's out of her fucking mind. Talk about detached from reality. Unbelievable. Only the pain of your spouse cheating doesn't go away like the pain of a stubbed toe. Yeah, I love it. First of all, she does everything she possibly can to sabotage the relationship, and then she plays the victim like she did nothing wrong. Oh, but the pain, it stays with you, and in most cases it gets worse. Yeah, because the world revolves around you, doesn't it? It's all about you. She goes on to say, we aren't married any longer. No shit. But it wasn't because we didn't try. It's because you didn't try. I just love this. You know the main problem I have with these dumb feminist cunts? They try to separate the necessity for sex from the relationship. He should love me for me. We shouldn't need to have sex to have a good relationship and love. And then they deny the guy sex. Because it's not necessary, because my feminist gender studies professor taught me that sex isn't a part of a healthy, stable, adult relationship, or it shouldn't have to be, and he should love me for me no matter how fat I am, no matter how ugly I am, no matter how many stretch marks I have, no matter how out of shape I am. Yeah, feminist dream, right? I could be a big, fat, lazy sloth that doesn't give him sex. And he'll still love me. Yeah, it denies reality, but hey, that's what feminism is all about. Oh, my God. We tried for over 6 years. He tried. You didn't really try. You didn't really try at all. You got the kids you wanted, and then when you got the kids, you had an excuse not to put in any actual effort beyond that. Women are so lazy. They're so lazy. They don't understand that relationships take more effort, especially when you have kids. You got to put the effort in. Oh, I'm tired. What was the excuse? I'm tired all the time. I still get up and go to work. I go out and I make money. By your fucking logic, I should just sit on my ass all fucking day and do nothing and end up homeless. That's the problem with these women. No fucking consequences to their actions. She could be a cunt, be a bitch, deny the man the sex that she agreed to give him when they got married, and which, by the way, for a man, is part and parcel of the love in a relationship. And of course, I'm a feminist, so I believe that's not true. Meanwhile, this fucking fact denial that feminists seem to have, it ends up getting them divorced. 93.6% of all marriages end within 10 fucking years. That 50% number is total bullshit. That's just an aggregate based on looking at any particular year and the number of divorces that happen in that year. If you take any couple and look at the date they get married and then revisit them in 10 years, 93.6% of those fucking couples will be divorced. Marriage is a fucking loser. You get married these days, it's not gonna last. Not gonna fucking last, and this is fucking why. We aren't married any longer. This is a big surprise. So she goes on to say, I think not feeling like I wanted to have sex was exacerbated by the fact that he kept pointing it out to me. Oh, blame him, right? Blame him. Pointing it out. Wait. This is great. This is wonderful logic. I love this logic. Okay, so I didn't want to have sex with him. And then he pointed it out that I wasn't having sex with him. And him pointing that out caused me even more so to not want to have sex with him, even though the whole thing that started the problem was me not doing my duty as a wife and having sex with him. So you caused the problem, you started the problem, and then you're blaming him. Isn't it great? Wouldn't it be great to be a woman? I mean, no wonder we have so many fucking transsexuals these days. It's so wonderful to be a woman. Now men can become women. And then they can adopt this mindset where it's everybody else's motherfucking fault. But yours! It's his fault I didn't want to have sex with him because he pointed out that I didn't want to have sex with him. Wait, what? Seems kind of circular. Oh boy, okay, so that's crazy. That doesn't make sense. Oh boy. All right, anyway, he told me that I'd tricked him since I was more sexual when we first started dating and falling in love. Of course, bait and switch. I've been warning guys about this shit for years, okay? For years. This is what happens. The majority of women lie, but there's always red flags. And I made a video about red flags. You can find it on my channel going back a while. Red flags, check out my channel. But yeah. She goes on to say, oh, no, she denies it. She says, but if we were having sex, he didn't give me a hard time about buying myself a new shirt. If we were having sex, he did things around the house willingly. If we were having sex, he acted like he liked me more. Imagine that. You're giving him what he wants, what he needs as a man, even though you'd like to deny to yourself that he's supposed to want those things. That's idealism, by the way. Essentially, the idea, the mindset that there's no objective reality. We just create the world as we go along. So, yeah, men don't really need to want these things more. That's just a constructed idea, constructed mindset, yeah. If we were having sex, he complimented me the way I looked and how I mothered. Well, then, wouldn't that tell you that it's a good idea to have more sex with him? Because there's a lot of bonuses for you. If we weren't having sex, that all went away. Oh, I see. It's just like I said. Feminists taught this broad, that if he gives me positive affirmation from sex and he doesn't really love and care about me, which thereby creates this alienation and makes her not want to have sex, to test him. And then, of course, what happens? What the feminists know will happen. The relationship's going to become strained, and this reinforces in her mind this idea that she's been taught by feminists that he doesn't really love me, he just wants me for sex. No. But sex is a big part of a relationship. Didn't anybody tell you that? So it didn't matter that I did his laundry, put it away for him, made him dinner every night, and baked his favorite pie or cookies. First of all, anybody with half a brain knows that if you're having good sex in a relationship, it's about 10% of the relationship. If you're not having good sex or you're not having sex at all, it's about 80-90% of the relationship, okay? Not a big deal if it's happening, big deal if it ain't. So again, this is just typical feminism, denial of reality. She was having sex with him before, no problem, but then she hooked him. Now I got him. Now he's got to love me no matter what. Well, why were you having sex with him before, but not after that? Isn't that dishonest? Oh, boy. It didn't matter that I kept the house clean and took care of the kids' appointments and schedules, so he didn't have to worry about that. It did matter. But the sex is also an important, integral part of the relationship. I find it amusing, though. If you think the sex isn't so important, then why are you giving a flying fuck that he had an affair? This is the thing that really shocks me. She thinks it's not that important. Or she apparently thinks it's not important at all because I did all these other things, so what the fuck should he care about sex for? Well, at the same time, why should you care? Why do you give a fuck that he's off banging some fucking whore or some other broad if it's not that big a deal? So she's already, and this is great. Excuse me. So she's already contradicted herself and made it quite obvious that she cares just as much about sex because she broke up the marriage over sex, meaning not giving it to him. And not only that, but she left him because he had sex with somebody else. So if sex is not that important or not that big a deal, why do you care that he's having it with another person? The screen just went blue. I just crashed her fucking processor if she's listening to this. Well, there's no real processor there, right? This woman can't think. Oh, boy. So he once told me that he'd rather have the house a mess and no food in the house and a disorganized life if we were having more sex. Twice a month wasn't enough for him. What do you mean twice a month? You went 6 months without having sex, you dumb broad. He'd have probably been happy with twice a month. He told me that I tricked him. Since I was more sexual when we first started dating and falling in love. That is a trick. That is a trick. I realized that after some time having sex made him feel more like a man. Oh, that's all it was. He just wanted to feel like a man. Yeah, it's not because that's an integral part of a fucking healthy adult relationship. Your feminist fucking professors told you otherwise, though, of course. My withholding made him feel like less of a man. No, he needs sex. He needs to take a shit, he needs to take a dump, he needs to eat, and he needs sex. You dummy. You dummy, you. It's not about his fucking self-esteem. This is more feminist mumbo-jumbo. He never asked if anything was wrong or if we could do anything to help me feel more sexual. I gotta service you, right? Yeah, he did do something, sweetheart. He went to work every fucking day and probably worked shitloads of overtime to pay for your 3 kids and your lifestyle. He did plenty. Yeah, you did. Jesus Christ. So he's got to go above and beyond. He's willing to give you the sex that you're supposed to be giving him. He can find the energy, and I guarantee you that his job is requiring more work and effort and energy than yours. I guarantee it. Yet, you can't find the energy to do the same thing, give him the same thing that he's giving you. But he's got to go above and beyond what you're not willing to meet him at. It's great. So I'm not even willing to meet him here. I'm down here. He's willing to give me the sex that I agreed to when we got married, but that's not enough. He's got to go up here, but I'm still only willing to be here. And he's got to go above and beyond and do even more work to make me feel sexy and sexual. Gotta love the fucking entitlement. And she's confused about why her marriage didn't work. Yeah, it's a real shocker. Oh, boy. Here's the truth here at the end. A woman's worth goes way beyond how much sex she's having with her husband. A woman's worth... That's all it's about. She's just wanting to make a point, right? She's been told by feminism again and again and again that men see women as nothing more than objects. And that's such a horrible thing, right? Meanwhile, it's clear that she doesn't care about him. Listen to this. He never asked if anything was wrong with me. Did you ever ask him what was wrong with him? Did you ever talk to him? Did you ever make a fucking effort to express any concern for him or interest in his life? It's clear to me that this woman didn't give a fuck about this guy, and he was nothing more than a beta provider for her, who finally found some balls and decided to fucking go find what she wasn't giving him somewhere else. If only he'd found those balls earlier and not married this cunt. If only he'd been a little more red-pilled when they were dating and seen the warning signs. So sad. This is the problem. It's this kind of mindset where people deny reality and how the real world works that sabotages relationships. And that's what feminism is. It's a death fucking cult. It kills relationships. It destroys them. Destroys the lives of kids. It makes it so that kids aren't even born in so many cases with abortion, murder. It encourages the killing of children. Now these fucking leftist Democrat nut jobs want to kill kids who've already been born. It's crazy. It's nothing more than a fucking death cult. It's all feminism is. Denial of reality, embracing solipsism and idealism. Yeah. The world is what you make it. There's no such thing as objective reality. Idiots. My worth is not how much sex I have with my husband. No, that's part of it, actually, honey. It goes way beyond how much sex. But that is a part, right? So even she acknowledges in this last fucking paragraph, a woman's worth goes way beyond. It doesn't go way beyond. It doesn't go way beyond. You're wrong there, okay? It's a big part of what she brings to the fucking table. Oh, but I don't want to believe that. Meanwhile, all she sees him as is a big giant walking wallet. That's all she sees him as. She's objectifying men, while at the same time she's having a problem with being objectified. It's crazy. You see why I called this crazy shit, this broadcast, right? Let's see if this coffee is still hot. All right. Test number 2. Oh my God. This is the fucking bomb diggity. This fucking thermos. Wow. I'm very happy. Woo! It's very easy to make me happy. I'm happy all the time anyway. So, if you want to know my secret, I have a video on my channel under my philosophy section about how to be happy. I suggest you check it out. But Cloud 9, baby. A fucking good thermos. Believe me, they're harder to find than you might imagine. So, I think that's it. Yeah, hour, 16 minutes. That's enough. So let me know what you think of this crazy shit I've talked about in the comments section. Is this broad a nut who has unrealistic expectations and is suffering from, a lot of fucking problems, right? Talk about cognitive dissonance. Is she suffering from cognitive dissonance? Is she not employing critical thinking? And is she totally lacking in self-awareness in that she doesn't see the contradictions in the things she's saying and the way she views the world? Let me know in the comments section. Also, let me know what you think about the fat sex therapist that says diet culture is a form of assault. Oh, let me know what you think about North Carolina and their law to make it a crime if you don't stop banging abroad immediately and pulling out immediately if she revokes consent for whatever wackadoo reason. And of course, if, that doesn't happen, she can still say it did happen. And because the woman is, supposed to be believed all the time, you'll still go to jail whether or not it actually happened. And let me know what you think about the Chinese scientist who wants to put human brains in the monkeys. It's a great idea. By the way, if you haven't figured it out, I don't read the chat messages as I do these live streams. So, if you're expecting me to respond during the show, it's not going to happen. But I do go and check the comments after. And if you're watching on D Live, I will go and check that out. So if you have a question or a comment that you want me to address, make a donation, whatever it might be, however generous you're feeling. I do need the support, and I will check those comments out, and I will answer the comment or question on my next live stream. Also, I have Skype, and I reply. Usually this show is a live call-in show, and tomorrow the live call-in show format will continue, so you can Skype me at The Realist Philosopher during the show. Also, if you want to be on the show to discuss something a little more in-depth, a little more important, a little more personal, feel free to email me first and tell me a little bit about the question, comment, or whatever issue you want to discuss. Maybe discuss it live on the show. You can email me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin@therealistphilosopher.com. And also, if you'd like to make a donation, you can go to my website, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That is therealistphilosopher.com/donate. I don't get any money from YouTube. I have no monetization. So whatever you can afford to give me would be great. And if you like the red pills I'm giving you, the realism, the philosophy of realism that I'm presenting you with, the raw red pills I'm giving you, then please consider donating. I could really use your help. Also, you can follow me on social media. I'm very prolific on Facebook and Twitter, not so much on Instagram, but I do post some videos, video excerpts. Wait a second. Dry mouth. If you're a regular coffee drinker, you know what that's about. I do post the excerpts from my show, occasionally on Instagram. I'm also on Gab. On Facebook, I'm Magus Reason. On Twitter, I'm The Realist 1967. And on Gab and Instagram, I'm also The Realist philosopher. So consider following me on one or all those platforms, especially Facebook and Twitter. I reply to a lot of leftist nonsense, so you can interact with me on those platforms, get in touch with me or DM me there, or just send me an email. So this show will be on again tomorrow, the same time. So I hope to see you then. And again, please consider donating. I could really use your help. I'd like to expand my content creation, the platforms I'm on, and some of those platforms are not free. So please consider making a donation at therealistphilosopher.com. Also, I'm on DLive. It's a new well, it's not a new platform, but it's new to me. It's very similar to YouTube, but it uses blockchain technology. A lot less censorship than YouTube. You'll find the link in the description of this video. So go there, sign up for DLive. There's a lot of good content there. From what I understand, PewDiePie is now streaming only on DLive. So hopefully if enough of you go there, sign up, it'll provide some actual competition with YouTube, and then they might stop censoring people so much. You never know. But go there and consider following me on DLive. That would be great. DLive also has a one-time donation platform where you essentially buy a certain number of their crypto coins, and then you can use those crypto coins any way you want to make donations to any of the various content creators there that you'd like to support. And a lot of the more controversial content creators like myself are now on DLive. So you just buy some tokens, you donate them, you're totally anonymous, and then it can get converted to cash when I want to cash out whatever tokens people have donated. So it's a very good platform. So I'd appreciate it if you follow me there. And that's it. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.